Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Rewind, the channel where we take a look at some of the best Reddit posts. Today we're going to be looking at some crazy stories from r/AmITheA. But guys, before we get into that, make sure that you smash that subscribe button, ring the bell, and like the video because it does help the channel out a whole lot. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below because we will be picking one to feature in the next video. Now, let's get into the posts. Hey Reddit, will I be the a-hole if I reported my daughter's teacher for not pronouncing her name correctly? My daughter's English teacher refuses to pronounce her name correctly. She has a Japanese name and we live in Japan. Her name is Kanae, pronounced Kanae. Recently, Kanae told me that her English teacher, an expat from America at school, calls her Kanai. She told me that she told the teacher, "My name is Kanae. It's 3 claps or syllables," but the English teacher told Kanae that she was incorrect, and that grammatically speaking, that she, her teacher, was correct. During my daughter's sports day, I confronted the teacher. I explained that my daughter would like to be called Kanae, but she laughed and said she was pronouncing it the way it's supposed to be, but will try her best to remember. Today, my daughter told me the teacher still calls her Kanai. My daughter is very shy and it took a lot for her to correct her teacher the first time. I'm considering going to the school in the morning, but is that an overreaction? For some clarity, I am not Japanese. My wife is, so our kids are mixed race. Our kids are fluent in English and Japanese. Edit. Oh wow, I wrote this late at night and went to sleep. I didn't expect it to get this much attention. Thank you for all of the responses. I can't reply to them all, but this morning we couldn't go. Son had an earache, but we are going there after school ends. We asked our daughter if she wanted us to tell. She said she didn't care. We don't want the teacher fired, we just want our daughter respected in her classroom. Update. I'm not sure where else to place it, but my wife and I had went to the school today around 3:45 p.m., but then the English teacher in question had gone home. We told the principal everything that I've told you all, and he was extremely apologetic. He did say that maybe it was a language barrier, but I reminded him that my daughter and I both told the teacher in English how to pronounce Kanae. So then, the principal called her dispatch company, Interac. As it turns out, the same thing happened. The company apologized but tried to pass it off as a language barrier thing. More apologies were issued when we told them we spoke English. We were told that Interac would speak to the teacher and that they would handle it. The principal asked us to come to school Monday morning. I'm hoping to talk to the teacher face to face on that day. Final maybe update. This morning I met with the school board, principal, the dispatch company, and the teacher in question. I honestly didn't expect everyone there. It was very traditional Japanese apology. Deep bows from everyone, even the American teacher. She wrote, I think it was written for her because it didn't sound natural and she made several mistakes. I don't remember word for word, but it said, I sincerely apologize to the our family name, and most certainly sincerely to Kanae. She said it correctly. I now realize how important names are to the Japanese people. Please accept my dearest condolences. Yes, this was actually said. The teacher promised to treat Kanae with more respect. She also apologized for not respecting me during the sports day. Honestly, the only real thing that she said is when Kanae was brought in and the teacher kneeled down and said, Kanae, I am really sorry. It seemed heartfelt. Kanae being Kanae made the teacher a card, and the teacher teared up a bit. I forgive her. So does my daughter. I have no idea what's going to happen career-wise, however. Her company seemed very upset, but my daughter feels better. Thank you all so much. I honestly don't think that this mother was being the a-hole in this situation. I think she was reasonable and she didn't go off the deep end when talking to the teacher about it. And it seems like the response they got was pretty reasonable too. What do you guys think? Put it down in the comments. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad? Either you pay me a proper wage or I'll quit. My dad owns a restaurant and intends to leave it to one of his kids. My sister, who is 28, was not interested and went to be a hairdresser, and my brother, who is 29, is in university. Meanwhile, I, who is 25, went to cook school, or whatever you call it in English, and graduated 2 years ago. I love to cook. I love to experiment. I love working in the restaurant business despite the hours being effing horrid, so I have been designated as the heir, more or less. Despite everything going on, the restaurant runs great, and frankly, I take full credit for it. Ever since I took over as head chef, revamped the menu, created a system for people to order and pick up food, and so on, the amount of customers has tripled. We actually make more during this crisis, even without allowing dine-in customers, than my dad made before I worked here full time. Atop that, I also often work when someone falls through, be it kitchen work, serving, hosting, or whatever. I manage most of the accounting, and I also started a social media presence for the restaurant, which has blown up locally. Long story short, I work a minimum of 60 hours a week, often more. Now, I do all this with love. I like it despite swallowing up all my time, but that brings us to what I make. I literally make as much as the serving staff, who are all under 20, would make if they worked full time. That is to say, I make what they would make in 40 hours while working 60 plus hours and having triple the workload, and I'm tired of it. I tried speaking to my dad about it, but I kept getting inconclusive answers or BS answers. As an example, he talks about it being a difficult time for restaurants, so he can't increase my wage despite the fact that we make more despite the crisis, or something like, I'll think about it. I can barely pay my damn rent at this rate, let alone save even a dime. So I ended up saying, what's in the title? I could get another job like yesterday. There's an extreme shortage of chefs, and make at least double what I make right starting now. Obviously, this led to my dad and family blowing up at me, and now I am worried if I am the a-hole. Gotta say, totally agree with this reply. It says not the a-hole. Sounds like your dad's just using you for cheap labor. Sure feels like it, says the OP. It is. It's also illegal and bad practice. Take a week off for your mental health. Let him run things and watch it implode without you. Return and insist a pay raise and appropriate salary structure, or you walk. You have proof you are an excellent head chef and manager? I imagine if you walk, so will most of the staff, and your dad can't afford that. It's a trump card, but you need to pull it now before you burn out and can't do this anymore. Am I the a-hole for walking in, then immediately walking out of the restaurant when I saw my husband's family present at our wedding anniversary? Pardon my English, it's not my first language. This happened last week, and I'm getting scolded for what I did by everyone I told about what happened. Last week was my and my husband's wedding anniversary. His mom started calling him, asking about our plans for this year's anniversary. We've been married for 3 years, by the way. My husband told her that we were going to go out and celebrate and have dinner together. She asked if she could host the anniversary at her house instead and invite family members. It was an instant no from me. My husband seemed to be wanting it, but I already made other plans. She had us celebrate with her while we were together on vacation for 2 weeks. That was horrific and the worst experience so far. I knew my husband was still talking to her about it, but I just let them. 2 days before the anniversary, he asked if we could have a family celebration, but still go to the restaurant and have a good time. I felt uncomfortable. All I wanted was for some time together alone, plus I had other plans after dinner. To have the family come is not logical at this point. I was working that day until 3 p.m. He didn't go to work but was busy all morning and didn't want to say with what, so I figured he's getting me a present or something. He picked me up at 3 p.m. I remember his mom constantly calling him while we were in the car. I got home, took a shower, made sure he checked with the restaurant about reservation for the night, and we left at 7 p.m. Again, his mom was talking to him on the phone in the car. I asked him why she was calling all day, and he changed the subject. We arrived at the restaurant. He walked before me. I followed him, and after I walked through the floor and saw his mom, dad, sister, and cousin and her kids, I froze for a second. My heart dropped. I felt so much rage as he tried to get me to keep walking. His family saw me. When I turned around and walked out back to the car, he followed me and started saying sorry, but I should just go inside with him since it was already done. I yelled at him, literally just losing it, and telling him that he ruined the night I was waiting for and how he turned it into a family dinner, to which I said no from the beginning. He begged me to go inside, but I refused. We argued till his mom came trying to convince me to go in. I went home in a taxi after I told them to go back and celebrate. He came home not liking that I left and refused to talk about it. His mom texted me about my behavior and how I ruined it for her son and the whole family, and that I should respect her family and stop whining and overreacting like that. Edit to answer some questions. We are in Europe and this is our 3rd anniversary. The past anniversary was celebrated with his family, and this isn't the first time. I experienced the same thing on other occasions. Mother-in-law gets more aggressive on Christmas and thinks she keeps stomping boundaries, and dear husband has no problem with that. I can see why the family perceived her reaction as a bit extreme, but at the same time she already said no and her wishes were not respected, so I don't think that she is the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for getting a nose job after my sister had reconstructive surgery to look how she was supposed to look if she hadn't gotten an accident? So I have an identical twin sister. When we were kids, we got into an accident. The accident left my sister with some really bad scarring on her face. She and my parents finally had saved up enough money for her to get some cosmetic surgery to fix it, so she had the surgery done a little while ago. The surgeon used my face template since my sister said she wanted to look like how she would have looked if she never got in the accident. Now, unrelated to her surgery, I've always wanted to get a nose job. I've never liked my nose. My family, including my sister, all knew this, but I was always too afraid of having surgery to get it done. However, after seeing my sister go through a more difficult process, a nose job didn't seem too scary anymore. So I set up an appointment and had it done. It wasn't anything too dramatic. It just got smoothed out. My parents didn't even really notice when I went over to their house to visit after it had healed. My mom just said I looked good and thought I was doing my makeup differently. My sister, on the other hand, noticed right away. She was unexpectedly very angry that I had got it done. She says she wanted us to look the same so people wouldn't get curious about what happened whenever it came out that we were technically identical twins. She said me getting a nose job is basically the same as calling her nose ugly. The last thing she said is that I just did it so I would get to continue being the pretty sister and she'll never be able to outshine me, which isn't true. I did try explaining my side and said I would just tell people I had surgery if it came up, but she refused to listen and locked herself in her bedroom. She's completely refused to talk to me for weeks now, and I'm pretty sure she blocked my number on her phone. I did just hear from my mother that last week my sister tried to go back to the doctor and get another surgery to get her nose to look like my new one, but apparently the doctor said no because there was too much scar tissue. So now my sister's gone back to locking herself in her room all the time like she used to before she got her surgery. My mom says I really should have taken more time to reconsider getting my nose done because me getting cosmetic surgery made my sister feel bad about herself again, and unlike for her, me getting it done wasn't necessary. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like the video and smash that subscribe button. Ring the bell so you know every time that we upload new Reddit videos. This has been Reddit Rewind. Peace out.